Hi, I'm Katie from Thayer's Treats and welcome to Miss Katie's Kitchen. Today we are going to be making an easy, simple recipe of marshmallow fondant that you can use to decorate on your cakes, cupcakes, cookies, or even just a snack on. So let's get started. The ingredients you're going to need are very simple. 3 cups of powdered sugar and half a bag of mini marshmallows, along with a splash of water. And that's it. That's all you're going to need to make this. So let's start with the powdered sugar. We're going to start with 1.5 cups of powdered sugar put into this colander, which I'm going to then sift into the bowl. So 1.5 cups. And I'm going to use a whisk and just whisk it around to make sure that there aren't any lumps when I do this fondant. So we just go around like this and sift the powdered sugar through. And there we go, half of the powdered sugar is done. So let's start with the marshmallows and what we're going to do there. You are going to take half a bag of marshmallows, dump it into a bowl, and then I'm going to add a splash of water to this and put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And at that point, I will stir it and see if it's completely smooth. Now I'm going to go throw this in the microwave, start with a minute, check it, stir it to see if it's smooth, do it for another minute, and I will show you what it looks like when it's completely smooth. All right, guys, 1 minute later, and the marshmallow is absolutely perfect. Now, normally I use a whole bag of marshmallows along with about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of water. But this time I didn't need that much fondant. So we are going to take the marshmallow and pour it right over that sifted powdered sugar that we had done, the 1.5 cups. And then I'm going to take 1.5 cups more of powdered sugar and put that right over the top of this marshmallow. Now, the reason for doing it that way is because when you go to mix it in, it's easier to mix together since the marshmallow is sandwiched in between the 2 layers of powdered sugar. You can always, if you want, sift all of your powdered sugar and then pour the marshmallow on top. I just like to already have it somewhat mixing together. So let's set up for the powdered sugar. 1.5 cups more powdered sugar right into the colander, and I will sift it, and then comes the getting your hands dirty part. We are going to knead this using our hands until it comes together to form a Play-Doh-like consistency. And done. Powdered sugar is done. All right, now it's time to get our hands dirty. And know that your hands are gonna be sticky, but eventually it comes together and it will be less sticky. You also do not want to do this immediately after pulling the marshmallow out of the microwave. I have made that mistake before. And when you do it that way, you tend to burn your fingers, which is no fun at all. So let the marshmallow sit for a minute or 2 before you start to pull this together. And it might seem like it's super powdery at first, but don't worry, this will come together. Powdered sugar is one of those ingredients that you use a lot of it, but it disappears pretty quickly. There we go, it's starting to come together, and it's also starting to get a little bit harder. I am going to dump this out now onto here and start to try to pull it together. Now, if it's too dry, we will add water to it to try to pull it together. And depending on the season, the humidity, and even your powdered sugar or marshmallows, you will find that things can be different. With baking, it is always that way. I am going to add a little bit of water to this to try to loosen it up. In this case, it was a little bit dry today, so I didn't need quite as much powdered sugar. Literally all I do is get my hand wet and then start to knead it. Now kneading is pushing down with the palm of your hand and then twisting. And this is still pretty hard, so I am going to add another little splash of water. You don't want it to be so hard that it's difficult to use. You want it to get to the consistency of Play-Doh. And it's okay if you add too much water. You can always just add a little bit more powdered sugar to it. You want to be able to use this in such a way that you can make a decoration for the top of your cake and it will hold its shape without being too loosey-goosey. So here we are about to the consistency of Play-Doh, as you can see, or clay. Now if I wanted to lay this on the top of an entire cake, I would get this just a little bit looser. I would add just probably a little splash more water. But since I'm using this fondant to make decorations on top of the cake, I want it to hold its shape pretty well. So here we go. This is what it will look like. You can twist it. You can also use this to form different shapes. And if it's sticky, just add a little bit of powdered sugar. If it's too hard, add a little bit of water. Now I'll get some food dye and show you how to color the fondant. All right, so I'm going to take a small piece of this off. You don't need much with fondant. And I am going to color this purple. I'm going to use a gel food coloring to do this. You can use the food powder. However, gel just works so much easier. Now, a little tip for you, so you don't color your hands purple for 2 weeks, or red or black or whatever other color you're going for. Put shortening on your hands. Make sure that you cover them nice and good. Cover your fingers because these dyes will color your skin. And if you don't put shortening on, which protects your skin, then you are going to have red fingers for weeks, which I've done, and it's not a big deal. Now, I'm going to start kneading it together and twisting it, and we should start to see the purple come to the surface. Go. Now you can have fun with this. You can knead it until it's a perfectly uniform color all the way around. You could keep it at this level right here and have a pretty marbled look to it. But I'm going to show you how I knead it to the point where it is one consistent color. You twist it, you squeeze it, have fun with it. And there we go. It's getting better and more consistent in color. You can do as many colors as you want. Think about what you're going to be using it for. Now, colors that are hard to get in fondant are your really dark colors. Think black and red. You have to use a lot of food coloring to make your fondant black and red. So my advice is, if you want some black or red on your fondant decorations, buy a small package of black and a small package of red. It's going to be easier. It won't taste as yummy as the marshmallow, but it will be easier altogether. So there we go. A purple fondant, and I will use this on cupcakes. But as you can see, a nice consistent color and a perfect consistency for working with. So let's talk about storing your fondant. This is not going to go bad. In fact, this will stay good in your pantry for 6 months, a year. It's just marshmallow and sugar, but it will harden. So how do you keep it from hardening? Take plastic wrap, wrap it tightly around this. Make sure that you are completely covered, and then put it in a Ziploc bag. Put as much air out of it as you can, zip it shut, and throw it in your pantry. And voila, you have fondant ready to go. When you want to use it again, when you pull it out, if it seems too stiff or too hard, start to knead it again. Add a little water if you need to. Add a little tiny pinch of shortening if you need to. And it will come back to the consistency of Play-Doh. And if you ever get it to the point where it's too sticky or it's sticking to everything, just powder some powdered sugar right on your counter, slap a little on your hands, and keep kneading away. So I hope that is very helpful on how to store your fondant. All right, guys, now we have the perfect purple and a perfect consistency. This you can use to make all sorts of decorations on your cake. You can even roll out an entire batch of this to lay over the entire cake to make a book cover if you wanted to. One of the other things that I love to do with fondant is creating little shapes, animal shapes, a golden snitch, maybe a broomstick, or wardrobe doors if you wanted to do a Narnia cake, and put them on top of the buttercream. One of the other decorations you can do are sprinkles on top of your cakes. You can also go to your local candy store like Bath Sweet Shop, and they have all sorts of amazing decorations to put on your book cover cake. So I hope that answers your questions about fondant. And if you have any questions at all, I am Katie Thayer from Thayer's Treats. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and I would love to answer any questions you have. And I cannot wait to see you make your fondant and what creations you make. So have a good day, everybody.